if you're all going to talk about your plane experience, Patrick can talk about how their new safety video is so much worse. Now they have them sit in Hawaii when they used to be sitting in the theater.
You mean the safety video that you watched because you had to fly to Florida and back, and I had to drive
4 times? Because
let me tell you,
times I had to watch that.
Let me tell you,
I think we watched it 5 times.
The Dodge Ram, you did. The
Did
Dodge Ram doesn't
have
have a safety video.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, and that's why I went 90 the whole way. Because
did you have your seatbelt on?
Yes.
Did you store your carry-on on the underneath in front of you?
That seems very dangerous, doesn't
it? Well, it does, but still. Did you? All right, let's get this on recording.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Auto Belt Pod.
Yes, the Auto Belt Pod. We're doing something new.
Yes.
Just thought we'd try a new format here, so we're doing Pod now.
And
we're still going to have it on the YouTube and the podcast feed, but you can also catch us on your favorite Pod app on Android, iPhone, all the different platforms.
I like that we're going to have it on the YouTube.
The YouTube, yeah, the YouTube. Yeah. You know, the internet's just a series of tubes.
It really is.
Yeah.
There's YouTube.
Right.
There's my tube.
Right.
There's Jerome's tube.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It is, isn't it?
It is.
Well,
It's
buttermilk
hilarious.
comes in a tube, doesn't it?
It does come
Well,
in a tube.
it's more of a jug.
I was going to ask if was America or China.
No.
Oh,
it's actually Pod.
It's Pod.
Yeah.
That sounds American.
That's why. Otherwise, it would be Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm Chili.
I'm Melissa.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Jerry.
Welcome to the Outer Belt
Podcast.
Oh, man, I'm so happy to be back. As y'all noticed, we've been gone for 6-8 months. I don't know how long has it been.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's really been, what, 2 weeks?
It's been mid-season hiatus.
All this pent-up silliness.
Well, you see what happened is we upset the sponsors.
Yeah.
And they said that we had to have a 2-week timeout.
Yep.
So we made the best of it.
We did.
And
we really did.
little do they know, they thought they got out of paying us.
Mm-hmm.
Really, we just got PTO, right?
There we go.
Or PTSD. I'm not sure which yet, but at least we're back now. We have been picked up for a few more episodes, and I'm excited to be here with my friends.
Yeah, you see my knee here? This is from being on my knees groveling to let our show come back. I don't know if you guys knew I did that.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's what that injury there is from.
Jeez, you got to be careful.
You do. When you
Groveling.
When you're on your knees groveling, you got to be careful.
Are you groveling on the gravel?
Yes.
That's what it looks like.
What is groveling? Is groveling just like when you're on your knees on gravel and they're like begging and they're like, oh, look, it's groveling?
Yes, I think it is. I think it's a level below begging.
Oh.
Like begging is please.
I know.
It's like tears.
But you promised.
Exactly.
We've got our Wikipedia Eric over here. Wiki Eric.
Aw.
He's going to check out groveling.
Yeah, unfortunately tonight we don't have our producing assistant, Dawn, in the house.
No.
So Eric's having to handle some business.
Yeah, what does groveling say?
There's a few different definitions on Urban Dictionary.
Different spellings, same spelling.
Groveling, groveling.
I have no idea.
Sounds like a good
I
word.
think it's, hey Siri, what does groveling mean?
What's she going to tell you?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I found this on the web.
Ah.
Okay, so groveling is.
Okay.
Someone needs to turn their cell phone off.
Yeah, why is she talking to me? This says groveling versus an apology.
Yeah, I could see that.
There needs to be genuine remorse. Were you genuinely remorseful?
The sponsors.
I was genuinely remorseful to the sponsors.
The groveler has to suffer?
Yep.
I did.
I did.
I
With your
suffered right
wound.
here. Yep.
Check.
Yep.
Next.
But, and this is important, these two things aren't enough. Time. Specifically, the rejection of a groveler over time. So you need to be apologizing.
Right.
You need to be suffering.
Right.
It needs to be over a period of time.
2 weeks.
And we're back.
There you go. There you go. You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
all welcome. Not you. The viewing, listening audience is all welcome for my suffering and my apologies to the sponsors.
I suffered too.
Did you suffer?
I don't know.
Okay. Oh, so much fun.
Well, for like 6 minutes, I was like, "Are we gonna have a job when we come
Yeah,
back?"
exactly. Worried. Well, it wasn't enough time.
6 minutes. That's it, huh?
And it was actually spread out over like 20-second thoughts over the course of 2 weeks.
It wasn't
I
6
see.
solid
It
minutes.
was 6 aggregate minutes.
I think I would have just done the 6 minutes in aggregate and been done with it.
Oh, not in aggregate. 6 minutes in
You're right. One time, one big chunk.
conjunction,
Yes.
whatever
yeah.
it's called. Yeah.
What you did was aggregate.
Consecutively.
Consecutive.
Yeah.
6 consecutive minutes.
And this has been your daily dose of the thesaurus dictionary.
The word of the day is grovel.
Brought to you by the letter
G.
G.
And the number 2.
Really?
2 weeks off.
Oh.
Jerry, how you doing?
Doing great. How are
Good.
you?
Good. Good. You do anything fun over this last weekend?
Or the one before that, or the one before that?
Yeah.
No.
Nice.
Oh, actually, we did. We had Don's birthday
Oh,
that's
2
right.
weekends ago.
Yeah.
You had he had family come in, right?
His sister came down to visit.
Nice.
His youngest sister spent a few hours with us. Went out to eat.
A few hours.
Yeah.
I wanted
It's
to
a long
share
way
with
for a few hours.
you.
Why can't all family do that?
You had you did a guest show. Well, first off, you had Vince and I not too long ago, but after Vince and I on Expediter Boogie, you had your mom on there.
Yes.
I loved watching the video. It was so good. She's so funny. And so proud of her gourds. She kept calling herself like a gourd head or something.
Yeah. I didn't realize how much goes into the gourds and how big her business is.
Oh, I
You know,
didn't
she's
either.
got the guy who's growing gourds for her, and in the process of going through and cleaning the gourds and curing the gourds, I had no idea.
Nor did I know they
that
came
was
in
fun
a
to hear.
bunch of different sizes.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of thought they were an average size, but I mean, she's making ornaments out of some of these, you know, like a tree ornament for Christmas. And I'm like, well, that's got to be
Yeah,
tiny. But
fun stuff.
just, I didn't realize, like Vince said, that there was so much. And then her talent of what she's able to do, the whole pine needle weaving thing or whatever, just, I really enjoyed her video on Expediter.
That's his other channel. We don't
That's,
talk about that one
That's
here.
expedite.
Sorry.
Blah, blah, blah.
But yes, I did. I really liked it. It was good.
Thank you. I'll be sure to tell her that.
Yeah.
She's very, very talented. Been doing it a long time. And, yeah.
Yeah.
They come in all different sizes, all the way from little bitty small spinner gourds up to huge things.
Yeah.
And she actually just had a huge show this past weekend in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's called the Rosani Festival, and this is the second time doing it. And she actually had 2 more galleries, one out of Western North Carolina and another one out of Upper Georgia area. Approach her, and so now she has 2 more galleries. So now she's got 9 galleries that wants to carry her art.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Wow,
amazing.
that's awesome. That is awesome.
She's very excited.
Yeah.
She's getting to the point to where it's going to be, she wants to focus more of just her website and not travel as much and do as much shows, because she's just got so many galleries now that she's literally got like 4 of the galleries that are like knocking on her door. Hey, we need more product because we're all sold out, and she's only one person.
Right,
So-
right.
Is she looking for an apprentice?
No, not right
'Cause
now.
I'm looking at what's next for me. You know,
Everybody
in
needs
like
a hobby.
15
I don't
years.
think she put stick figures on the gourds.
She
Darn.
tries to get the
There
kid.
goes my chances.
She tries to get the kid across the street to like help wash gourds and stuff like that, and she pays him, like $10-12 an hour to sit and wash them, and so he helps out some.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
I
from
would
the
think that would be the time-consuming part.
Yeah.
Well, part of it, along with obviously her artistic of painting or.
If it's a large piece, I mean, she's worked on one piece for weeks before it's ready, just depending on how big it is.
Wow.
Wow.
That's crazy to me. It's the big one, the one she makes the drums out of.
Those are more, they tend to be more like tall and kind of oval shape, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for the Thunder drums.
The ones
Those-
that make the sound.
Those
Oh,
are
those-
hottest sellers right now. Everybody's
Yeah.
wanting those.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really neat. And then again, who knew they made sound like that?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, she learned that from one of her friends. And then she's now started doing it. And now there's other people that are trying to replicate it. They don't get the same sound, though, because she actually uses real lambskin.
Well, we
For
don't want to
the-
give away all her secrets on the show, but
Well,
Well, she told us on
Yeah.
Excited Boogie
Oh,
what
she already
she
gave
does
it.
with them. Yeah, she gave it away.
Yeah.
it's one of those, like, I can give you the secrets to success, but you won't do it because it's
Right, 'cause
more
it's more
difficult, more
expensive,
expensive,
yeah.
more talent.
she
Yeah.
even teaches classes on how to do this stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean,
Maybe for the neck of the woods, I'd have to do one of those.
I get it.
I enjoyed it. I just wanted to share. We took time out of our day and she made me laugh.
Yeah,
Cool. Thank
good
you.
stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
glad to know. So I didn't get the
Reminder.
reminder for it.
Notification.
So I literally, one of the things I was going to talk to you about was, why did you stop doing the lives? And I'm glad to know that it's not you stopped. It's that the algorithm's not telling me.
Yeah, sometimes YouTube does that. It just won't
Won't
send
tell you.
out notifications. I'm actually going live. When you guys are watching this, it'll be the Thursday before you watching this, but I'm going live tomorrow night.
Oh, cool.
I
Very
haven't
cool.
gotten the memo for that. Have you
Yeah.
been advertising?
I put it out Monday.
So
You're
listen,
not even on my Facebook scroll though anymore. Where did
Yeah.
that hide?
It's on Facebook and YouTube. It's there.
What are you going live with?
Myself.
Me, myself, and
Me, myself, and I.
well,
he little party at
he
3.
got he got tired of paying for the guest appearances, and so
I see.
We
No,
were pretty expensive being two of us, and you
Yeah.
know we have a pretty hefty
All
appearance
those
fee.
snacks and caviar in the
That's
green room.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Exactly.
oh, that green room experience is fun.
Oh, the lobster was amazing.
So just you.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Tomorrow is going to be tips and tricks on how to handle things at home while you're on the road for so long.
Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
that's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
I saw that the real trucker couple just did a little blurb inside one of their videos, but he said lots of people have been asking, how do you handle things at home? His was mail related,
Oh yeah.
so and he shared a couple of issues and how they resolved it, but I think that's a great video to do. I don't think a lot of people think about that.
No, and you know what? It's something I worried about before we got on the road, and we just had to sit down and figure it all out.
Yeah.
So I'm sure having a heads up on what to do would be great.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
It is funny when you get on the road and you're like, I need to do this, and it's due Thursday, but there's no way I'll get home.
Yeah.
And you are forced to figure things out. It's also gotten so much better and so much
Yeah.
easier
Oh,
than,
it has.
than when we all started.
Electronically, everything. Yeah.
Yes. Oh man, it. I thought about this today. I was at the DMV. So for those of you that don't know, if you were at the expo 5 or 6 years ago, a couple expos back to back, and we threw down and had our typical parking lot party, you may have saw my RV. We had Eric and I's RV. We had a 40-foot diesel pushing RV, and we had it out there, and that's where we kind of had Party Central started, and it all went outside. And we sold that thing a few years ago during the pandemic. As soon as we sold it, immediate remorse. You ever done that, where you sold something or you got rid of something, and immediately you're like, that was a huge mistake. I should not have done that.
Right.
Absolutely.
This
Yeah.
was that. As soon as we got rid of it, we were like, oh, this was dumb. We should not have done this. And so we sold it.
It was for strategic purposes at the time.
It was.
So
It
there
wa-
was a reason behind it.
But yes, there were alternatives we could have done, but this was the easier course of action. And we ended up selling it to a friend, so that was kind of nice, right? Like, friend got the RV. We at least knew it was going to go to someone who would take care of it, yada, yada.
Right.
Well, they ended up calling us a few weeks ago and saying, hey, we're actually not traveling anymore, and we're got a job in the wherever he lives, and just travel's not an option. Would we be interested in buying it back? Because I did say something at the time of like, hey, if you ever want to sell it, let me know. I might be interested in buying it back. And so Eric and I talked about it for like 6 minutes. Again,
6 minutes. That seems to be your
it's
number.
a very common
20-second intervals again, or
No, this was
solid
like
block.
3-minute intervals. So we
Okay.
only had 2 of them. So we ended up going back and buying it, and I got the nastygram that it had been almost 30 days, and I needed to go
Already.
register it with the DMV.
Wow.
So I got to go do that today. But while I'm at the DMV, thinking to myself, or when we were actually getting ready to pay for everything, they took credit card for everything. And I remember going to the DMV in Louisiana, and it was strictly cash, period.
Thank you,
there were-
Louisiana.
There were no other options than that. And I remember like having to either leave and go to the bank. And this was even when we had the trucking company. When we did our apportion plates back in the day, Eric and I would have to go to the DMV, get everything done, get the total amount of money, leave, go to the bank, not at ATM because we're talking thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars to register all these trucks. Easily $10,000-$20,000 towards the end.
Oh yeah, when we renewed the IRP
Yes.
every year for the entire fleet.
Yeah, because it all gets done on one date. So everything gets renewed at the exact same time. And so we have to literally go with this chunk of cash and drop it off. Like, I think about that versus today, I swiped my credit card. And it was just like no big deal. My license expires next month. So I knew I had to go in and to renew the license. We have these little express DMVs where you can do things like license renewals. So I was like, okay, I'll just go there at one point and do it. But before I did that, I got a notification in the mail that my truck needed to be renewed, the plate on it. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let me jump online and do it because I know I could do that online. And while I was there, I was like, do you need a license renewal? And I'm like, I wonder.
Yes, I do.
So I went, and sure enough, it let me renew my CDO right there on the
Wow.
website.
That's pretty cool.
They'll have a new one to me in like 14 days.
That's
and I'm
Really?
like, that's,
How-
yes.
How do they get your picture for the new license?
Just use the old
They
one.
just use the old one, I guess.
Yeah.
I think you can only do it once online, then you have to go inside the store again or something like that.
Okay.
But still, I'm like, this is great. I was blown away.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
pretty cool.
freaking
Technology.
Yeah.
blown
Especially
away.
because you can do that from anywhere. I mean, you might have done it too. Did you just have to redo your DOT? Only because we did them at the same time last year.
Mm-mm.
You're
He gets
It's
a
a
2-year.
oh, well,
He is number one.
I know. So I had to redo mine. But I'm like, I'm not going to go stand in that line. You've been there.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even getting up to go early to try to be one of the first 5 in line. And I went on the website, and there was a way that you could do it all over online. And I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Like, truly, if I was out over the road, I could have gotten my physical done anywhere.
Yeah.
And uploaded it to my state
Right.
being Ohio. But I think that's just really cool that you don't have to be in person for some of the,
Which,
non-actual photograph kind of licensey kind of thing.
I think COVID in 2020 pushed a lot of states to become more technologically advanced than they needed to be before.
I
I
think
really
so.
I think that did it for most places.
yeah, I really agree. Like, I mean, COVID was horrible. I wish we never went through that time period, but we did. There have been a ton of improvements
Oh, sure.
because of it. I mean,
Sure.
I think about like wars are always bad, but you think of the technological advances that came out of like World War II or even World War I or whatever. Like, it's always we come out of the other side of that thing with these huge technical advances. Some are good, some are not, but still, it's
GPS comes from the military.
It does.
So
Mhm.
Yep.
things like that on the good side.
Yep.
GPS.
Over the Road Mattress Company, the mattress company we own. Our beds have a layer of memory foam that is amazing. But the original memory foam mattresses, the original memory foam was developed by NASA for people to sleep while they're in space. So, like, none of that exists without the space program. It's
Right.
crazy. Think about all the memory foam companies. Is it Tempur-Pedic? No,
Mhm.
the big one.
Mhm.
Like, none of that exists without that. It's just amazing. Like, but yeah. So I agree. I love that. If the one good thing that came out of COVID was it very much made states and places that were holding on.
The whole country.
Yeah.
Probably around the world too, but we just know about our country's stuff.
I did think it was funny. Eric and I just watched there's a YouTube guy we follow online called Jeb Brooks. He reviews airplanes and trains and cruise ships and all kinds of stuff. Just got married like a year or two ago, and it's just been a lot of fun watching them. He just did a cross-country train ride on Amtrak, and he did it in economy, he did it in a little baby room, and he did it in a big room. So it's cool. You kind of get to see throughout the progress of his journey different aspects of Amtrak and
Right.
all this stuff. But leaving somewhere in California, I don't remember the station, they were at the cafe, and he said, just a heads up, if you go to this cafe, it's really good. They're cash only. and I think it's inside of Amtrak's station. Like it's not even like a thing on the side. And I'm like, cash only? Like I haven't heard of a cash only anything in at least 5 years.
We
Right.
went to a food truck Monday in L.A. that was cash only, and they park in the same place all the time.
Yeah.
And they have a sign in the window. It says cash only, ATM machine and laundromat, and across the street was a laundromat.
But I feel like even that, it's like, are they just trying to, you know?
Well, yeah, it could be.
They're
It
like
certainly
I
could
always,
be.
I always feel like when they're doing that kind of thing, it's cooking the books, or it's I don't want to pay the
the
fee or
extra
whatever.
Fee, yeah,
But nowadays, a lot of those places charge you for the fee.
they
So
charge you for the fee.
I won't shop
this
there.
is a installed inside of Amtrak station, which
Yeah.
is owned by the government, and you will only take cash. It's just funny to me. I just thought it was so strange. And this video was just like a few months ago, or not even a few months ago, like a month ago that they
Yeah.
filmed it. So
Cash only.
Now I have to go put my hat on the sidewalk and play a violin or something.
Even those guys aren't cash only.
yeah,
Those guys got a big QR code. You
Really?
scan it and Venmo
Ah.
them. Yeah,
I thought
Even
it.
then.
yeah.
I thought it was cool. I think y'all might have saw it when we were in London together, and I can't wait for you to see it when we go to London. In London, they don't have the QR code; they have just a tap.
Oh, yeah, tap. Yeah.
You just walk by,
Yeah,
put your credit
tap.
card or your phone on it, boop, then
Yeah.
walk on down the road.
Talking about the subway?
No, the musicians on the side of the road
the
and
buskers,
stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
The what?
buskers.
Is that what that's called?
That's what they call them, buskers.
And
That's
yeah.
your other word of the day.
I guess
That's tomorrow.
I like it. I mean, if you're gonna hustle, make it easy.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I don't keep cash on me.
Exactly.
I had some guy approach me on that drive down to Kelly and Jimmy's house a week and a half ago that I did during our sabbatical.
Right.
I was at the gas station filling up a truck. He walks over. He's like, "Get any cash to help me out or whatever?" And I'm like, I don't have anything. And he's like, "Oh, come on, man." I'm like, I literally don't have any cash. Don't have a need for it. Like, it just never really
Yeah.
have a purpose for it anymore.
Sure.
If I need cash, I'll pop
Yeah.
into an ATM.
I forgot what it looks like.
It's green.
I don't carry it.
Vince carries some on him kind of at all times.
Yeah, I try
just
and keep
for,
a little bit on me at all times.
for what ifs, you know. But
Yeah.
But he's an older
but like
gentleman.
he could have that same. Let's say he does $100.
No offense.
You know, he could have that same $100 in his pocket for
For a long
3, 4,
time.
5 months,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
there for a just in case somebody needs that cash. You know, a musical event where maybe they don't have pay and go and you need to give cash or,
Yeah.
you know, things like that. Whatever that might be.
And there's
but-
other
or
reasons
the,
why I
the
carry
food truck.
cash too. The food truck, but there's other reason why I carry cash too. But business wise, so
I made a joke about you being an older gentleman, and I apologize
no,
for
no,
that.
it's,
But
it's
I-
funny.
I have noticed the older the person I know, the more cash they keep on them. Like
Oh.
when I talk to people in their
Interesting.
70s, they have a couple $100 on
Yeah.
them. Talk to someone in their 80s, they got like $1,000 on them.
Ah,
It's like you know people like this?
It's funny you mention that because I remember my grandma when I was younger. She would always walk up to me and she'd give me like $5, $10, and I'd be like, "Grandma, I don't need it." And she would always say, "You never know when you're going to get a headache and
know.
you need to get something.
Exactly.
Just keep $5 on you, like all the time."
yeah, it's so
that's
strange.
funny.
Remember, because they had the older gentlemen have the money clips and everything.
Yeah. The older gentleman.
I know he's setting
Please
me up.
tell the viewers what's now happening.
I know
For
he's
those
setting
of
me
you
up.
that are just listening on your favorite podcast, Vince just reached into his pocket
And pulled out his.
Well,
and
a money
he's
clip.
pulling out his money clip.
Yeah. Well,
Is
I don't
it-
carry a wallet in my back pocket either. I carry a little
Yeah.
small card holder in my front pocket, and I keep my cash in the money clip.
Yeah,
So,
and y'all know me. I have the George Costanza ridiculous
Yes, you
wallet.
do.
I keep on
which
me,
is
but
unusual for someone of your age.
Demographic.
You gotta have certain things on you. I'm sorry.
Speaking of money clips, tell them what I used to carry around.
Eric used to keep,
Literally.
the black binder clips
Paper
that
clip.
that you with the
Yeah.
metal wings on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that used to be what it was.
It was the most convenient thing I ever had.
I like what you use now.
Classless, but
It's a little embarrassing, We show up at like what's that place in Easton? RH Restoration Hardware, right? You go up to their restaurant. The
Right.
cheapest thing on the menu is like $28, and it's really good. And we'd go and we'd spend $100 on dinner, or
Easily.
not even dinner snacks or whatever. And then Eric pulls out his,
Money clip.
American money clip with the big plastic thing and the but underneath it's a platinum American Express, and it's like they're gonna think this is fake. Like
It was a clip for my money.
Yes.
it's just,
That's funny.
I
no, I
keep
never.
this, and I keep a couple credit cards on the back, the Apple Wallet, and then, of course, those who know me, I love credit cards, so I've got a 3-ring binder at home with
He's
pages.
got one of those things, you know.
Do you really a
Yes.
3-wing?
You
Really?
I
guys,
do.
you guys may not be aware of these things. We used to have the big CD cases
Yes.
that were the big binders,
Yes.
and they had the pages that flipped. So he's just got a 3-ring binder of just a bunch of clear pages that he keeps them on.
I
in.
do.
Do you remember?
That's funny.
Do you remember running out of the CD spots, and so you had to double them
Double
up,
them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you trip them up,
Yeah.
and they'd rip?
Yeah, it just
Yep.
yeah.
And depending on what is going on in a particular month and what rewards on what card, I usually sit down at the
Cycle
first of
through
every
it.
month and I go through and say, okay, I need to get this out. I need to get this out. This one I'm not using, so I put it in and I swap them out.
Meanwhile,
Oh
I've
my
had
gosh, you've got the game going on.
Oh, I've had Wells Fargo. I've had 2 Wells Fargo credit cards because I bought the first one because it had an outstanding 24 months of interest-free financing. And I'm like, well, I'll probably need something, so let me get it. Never used it. Didn't put a single penny on it. They closed it. Come again. When we bought the house, I'm like, oh, we're getting all kinds of stuff for the house, so I need an interest-free credit card.
Sure.
And then you're sending me offers again. So I'm like, let me go ahead and take it now. Didn't spend a penny on it. They canceled it out. Guess what they just started sending me?
More offers again?
21% interest-free. And I'm like, come on, Wells Fargo. You've tried twice. I guess
Right,
you're hoping it'll
yeah.
stick on this third time?
All I can think about is all of the welcome bonuses you missed out on because you didn't even charge anything. Free money, you missed it.
I know.
I'd say my philosophy on credit cards is you get them when you need to use the 2 years of free interest on something. Like you're going to start a new huge project, that's the perfect time to get you a new card. Don't get it just because they're offering it.
The problem is they don't always give it to you when you need it. So,
You have to remember
I
that
know.
they're offering it to you. Go back to them whenever you do
Wells
need it.
Fargo just launched a brand new one like 3 weeks ago. That is really, really good.
Oh. I don't know. I hate Wells Fargo. I mean, I love them, but I hate them. I hate all banks. I'm slowly, I think I told y'all this before already, I'm slowly turning into a Dave Ramsey person. I'm ready to get rid of all the debt of everything.
I can't complain.
I know. So anyways,
I heard you mention I-90.
990.
I-90. What were you
I-90.
doing on I-90?
I wasn't.
95.
95.
I'm like, was I in Oregon?
I heard you mention I-90 something.
I wasn't way up north.
I-95.
I-95.
What were you doing on I-95?
I was. What, did we go I-95? I think I went down to Kelly and Jim. Huh?
95 goes
75?
through
I was
Miami.
transitioning. You ruined the
75?
transition.
I'm so sorry.
But I-90 was good, but you don't have to be on I-90. You could be on I-95 instead.
I took a little trip down to Florida during the sabbatical,
Okay.
and I got a really good deal on a cruise. And as you've learned from our past several conversations,
Yeah.
the weather here has been miserable.
Sure.
Absolutely miserable. So I had a good deal on a cruise, and I asked Eric, you want to go? He's like, sure. So we booked flights, got ready to go down there. I had a piece of furniture I wanted to get rid of. Well, furniture. I don't
Yeah.
know. What do you call it?
It became furniture.
Yeah, furniture. And Kelly and Jimmy mentioned when they found out I was getting rid of it, they were like, we'd like to have it. And so I'm like, well, this would be great. Why don't I cancel my flight and I'll get a rental truck like from Enterprise and bring it down to y'all. And when you looked at what I saved with and I was already going to get a car down in Florida anyways, so I canceled that one. So between canceling the car in Florida and canceling my flight, I paid for the rental, so it didn't cost me any additional money.
Oh, nice.
So I ended up taking that furniture down there, hung out with them one night, left and went down to Florida, and jumped on a cruise ship and headed out into sunnier, warm pastures. It was a lot of fun.
I'm so glad that furniture's gone.
It makes your life so much
I
easier.
don't have to do
doesn't it?
limbo when I go in your office. Or
Yeah,
slide back
it was
anymore.
really taking up space.
I need to get 2 of those today before we leave.
Nice.
Furnitures or limbos?
Swag bags.
Oh. Yeah, had a great time. Y'all ended up surprising us.
What? We did?
We
You
did.
did.
Yeah.
We we ended up having a couple, 3 days where we were going to be in Key West. Lo and behold, who shows up?
Well, that's what you do.
I had an idea.
Yeah.
About
Oh.
Key West?
Well,
Key West was
For-
nice.
Key West
For
was
the
nice.
record, I had no idea.
It was a quick in and out,
It was a nice surprise. Yeah.
but it was fun.
I knew.
About 6 minutes.
Yeah. That's how long you thought about it.
Right, exactly.
I remember texting you, being like, "Hey, we're gonna be in Key West. Would you be interested? Do y'all want to fly down and join us or whatever?" And you were like, let me talk to Buttermilk." And I think it was 6 minutes later, I got it. We'll be there.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
no, that ended up being a nice, fun trip. I thought it was hysterical because I've not really been to Key West. I know a lot of people have. We were there 2017, I want to say, on our way to Cuba. And we did a Cuban cruise, and back when it was open. But it was like a 4-hour stop in Key West.
Oh, that's not near.
No, it was
long
very,
enough.
very odd that it was such a short stay. So we got off the boat and walked around a little bit and kind of get right back on. It was kind of, I didn't really get to see much.
Right.
So we ended up, going down there, I really didn't know what to expect. The hotel we ended up getting had a place for a car, so I was pretty happy about that. But there's no parking down there. Everything's
Oh,
100,
no.
it's all walking.
Yeah.
We must have walked a couple miles just in circles
Yeah.
Yeah.
while we were down there,
Yeah.
seeing places and doing things, and had a great time just playing dominoes with y'all for a while
Oh,
at
that
one
was-
point.
That was probably my highlight. I enjoyed that.
That was a lot of fun. And we also went to a rum distillery.
Yes,
That was really cool.
that was fun.
We've done the bourbon trail and done a lot of the bourbon distilleries and stuff. So kind of seeing the rum side of things and how they do it, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was really ended up being a really good time away.
I think a lot of people think, when you go to a place like Key West, well, why didn't you do the beaches? Why didn't you, do X, Y, and Z and shop more? Whatever people do when they go to Key West. Playing dominoes and sitting and doing that, taking, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours out of our day. That's so us, though. That's like,
Yeah.
it was perfect.
Well, we sat there, we played dominoes, we smoked a cigar.
Yeah, and it was kind of indoor outdoors,
Yeah,
so you still got to
it was
enjoy
really
the fresh
nice.
air and it just, I mean, we're not big shoppers anyway. At least Vincent and I are not. So to window shop or browse and all the trinket shops just isn't our thing. So,
Right.
but playing dominoes was just a lot of fun, and on the domino board or the domino table, it seemed very
Yeah.
authentic,
Yep.
and
it was very Cuban, Puerto Rican.
it
feel.
was a
Very,
lot of
very.
fun. We had a lot of fun.
I think it was, again with like the beaches or snorkeling because that's a huge thing down there too. Or I know like dried tortugas is a huge deal. Like why don't we do any of that stuff? And it's like, well, it just takes too much time.
Right.
We were there for one solid day
Right.
and half a day before and half a day after.
Yeah.
Like it was a very short trip, and so all that stuff, like anything that would take up more than a couple hours, was off the list.
Yeah.
And so it really did just leave walking around and seeing things. And one thing I thought would be cool, we'd go to Hemingway's house, but again, just time.
Yeah.
It goes by so fast.
Weather was perfect. I wouldn't mind
Weather
doing
was
it
perfect.
same time next year.
Yeah.
Weather was like perfect.
I had a conversation with a friend of ours that goes down to Key West frequently. She lives in Miami. And she said that number of people and all that we had there is normal for this time of year.
Wow.
So she said, just any of these weeks, book it, you'll be fine. So I'm like, cool.
The guy
Good to know.
in the Uber on the way to the airport said this was the best time to come. Kind of that after spring break, before the summer.
Yeah.
And then he said, after, was it June, July? Nobody really goes down there because it's too hot
It's too hot.
to go vacation.
I
Yeah.
believe that.
So he's like, vacation is October to like June.
Yeah. I was in Puerto Rico one time in August. It was miserable.
Miserable.
Yes. Horrible.
Horrible. Horrible.
Horrible.
Terrible. It was
That was
terrible.
terrible.
It was terrible.
Terrible.
Oh.
But
Well, I'm glad you guys had a good vacation.
we did. But because of that, I took a couple weeks off of Octavia.
Oh, you did.
And it was not good. I tried to be responsible. I really did try to eat healthier options. But I did gain a little bit of weight, which was frustrating because if you remember, last time we talked to y'all, we just gotten back from the leadership conference thing we did.
Right.
And you did really good. No breakfast.
And we did no breakfast, and I gained like a pound or two, but nothing else. And so then I got back home, and I did get back on Octavia, and I was doing very well. And then we ended up going down to Florida for this last-minute deal, and I, again, tried to do responsible, healthy, good options. I still came back, and 276.2 or something like that on the might be 0.4. It kind of was doing that thing where the number was going side to side.
The scale was shaking.
I have so much disappointment and shame. I'm like, oh, come on. I
What
can't
did you
believe
start
all
off
that
on
happened.
again? Remind everybody.
It's like 290,
And you're at what now?
276.
Still
But
good.
if you go back and listen to the episodes, I've been in the 270 range for a couple months now.
Right.
Right.
And it's frustrating.
Sure.
And it's I don't have any travel planned between now and first part of June. So I'm like, I have a couple or several weeks where I really can stay on
Dig
top
deep.
of it. And even since we've been back from down in Florida, I've done pretty good. I haven't really eaten anything crazy. And so now it's like just try to work and grind and not eat things that I want to eat
Right.
and try to exercise moderation along with maintaining the Optavia plan. Because, again, it is the leading green. That's all I can eat at night, which y'all saw tonight. We had a little dinner before the show. It's kind of a bring your own meal, I guess it turned into.
Yes.
And so we had salmon and
Salmon and zucchini.
salmon
tomato.
and zucchini with tomato. So the salmon and the zucchini and tomato was like a vegetable melody, sautéed together or whatever, and that was it. It was a good lean and green. It needed more vegetables technically to be on plan. It wasn't enough vegetables.
Sure.
I'm putting forth the effort. It's just really hard to travel and stay on plan. It's really hard to go to places where, like the leadership conference, people were buying us dinners. So it's hard to order a salad at a steakhouse when someone's paying for your dinner.
Right.
I don't know. It's mental. I know there's some people listening that's going like, no, it's not hard at all. It's easy.
Right.
But when you've gotten this big and food is your favorite thing, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So it's been a struggle. I'm hoping next week we're going to have some better reporting than what I've been giving y'all as of the past few weeks. But that's where we're at. That's the honest review. It's difficult, and I'm right there in the weeds, and I'm hoping to pull myself out of the weeds.
I think this is where, as friends, we jump in and say, you're conscious of it. If you were completely oblivious and to what was going on, and you just weren't even trying anymore, well, that's a failure.
Yeah.
Right. This isn't a failure. This is human nature, and we all go through it when we're trying to lose weight or change a habit.
But
We all go
smoking,
through
anything.
it, and when you're conscious of what's going on and you're still making an effort, well, I think that's not failure. That's just trying to stick with it in human nature.
Yeah.
So I think as long as you're sticking with it, you got our back. We got your back.
All right. Well, that does bring us to our Optavia feeling of the week. And this one I really like. Who likes oatmeal cookies with the icing on top? The soft oatmeal cookies with the icing on top. Do you? Oh, wow.
I like oatmeal
Anybody?
cookies, but not the icing.
Eric?
Yeah, I'm not an
Eric?
icy.
Neither for me.
My stepdad used to have them in the truck quite a bit.
Well, screw all y'all.
But you know what? But wait, our viewers might. I bet you.
Yes, I bet our
Comment
viewers
below
do.
if you like them.
Yes, so this is Raisin Oat Cinnamon Crisp Bar. I don't know why they say crisp. There's nothing crispy about it. But it is basically an oatmeal cookie with icing. So the bar, I had to take it out to show you, but the top 2/3 of it, maybe top 75% of it, is a oatmeal cookie basically. Yes, it's got raisins in it, and I hate raisins, but they are
Few and far between.
they're few and far. There's not enough to worry about. And then the back half of it is just icing. Just that white icing that goes on.
Yeah.
I love these. This is great. It's very soft. Like, again, I don't know why they call it crisp. Delicious. This is one of the ones I really like. Again, if you like it so much you have 5 in one day, you're still staying on plan.
Sure.
You're still losing weight. And I think that's one thing I love about this plan. You get some of this really good flavors that are really good. It says naturally flavored because they are using, like, if you look through all the ingredient lists and stuff, they are using all the, like, actual oatmeal and actual all that natural stuff. It's
Sure.
not Laffy Taffy, banana Laffy Taffy that's made up of ethyl whatever
Right,
concentrate.
yeah.
So, but that's the one for the day,
Sweet.
of the week, and it's one I really, really, really like. Well,
Nice.
after Key West, my good friends Buttermilk and Chili took a trip to California.
We did.
I heard you had a spectacular, uneventful trip.
Spectacularly uneventful trip. If you count everything from Friday about midnight Pacific time to the time we got home yesterday at about 5 p.m. Eastern.
But you left before Friday midnight Pacific time.
We did. We left Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern time.
So,
So
pray tell.
most flights out of Columbus are going to connect through a Delta hub. This
Well,
hub
if they're on Delta.
if you're flying through Delta, yes.
American doesn't fly through.
Southwest doesn't do that either. So we had a 6 a.m. flight from Columbus to Atlanta.
That's so early. Y'all,
So
we
early.
live like 40 minutes from the airport.
Yeah,
I was up at
so
3. I had to
early.
get my coffee.
Our boarding time was 5:20,
40 minutes at the speed limit.
Yeah.
and I travel the speed limit because I'm conscientious like that. Careful,
Good.
especially at 5 in the morning when there's no one on the freeway. But anyway,
Except people going to the airport.
at the airport, exactly. In some other cities at 5 a.m. people are going to work, but not here in Columbus.
Yeah.
So on the way to the airport, we get notification that our flight was delayed.
Oh.
And we look, and, well, it still shows a 6 a.m. departure with the 5:20 boarding time. What happened was they pushed back our arrival time in Atlanta because there was weather between Columbus and Atlanta, and they had to go around it.
Oh, okay.
So it was going to be a little bit longer than planned.
We've done
Well,
that.
the delay was going to cause our next flight, which we had like 35 minutes to connect, we're going to miss that flight. So it was delayed. They started putting us on other flights and that kind of thing. Well, we get to Atlanta, and we hustle butt to get to the gate where our next flight is leaving. Our plan was to be in L.A. early. We'd have been in L.A. at 9:30 in the morning. Plan was to get there early, do some stuff that we wanted to do, and then meet up with family for the family thing we'll discuss later.
Yeah.
So we hustled. We get there. They opened the doors to the plane wasn't closed, but the boarding gate was closed.
Oh,
But there were apparently 10 passengers that hadn't made it yet. They're kind of waiting to see if we could get there.
okay.
We get there. They put us on the plane. We sat there another 15 minutes probably before
So they
closed the door.
reopened the gate door?
They reopened the gate door.
Wow.
But the plane door hadn't closed.
I
yet,
understand, but that's
right?
still super
They
rare.
reopened it, put us on the plane, and we sat there another 15 minutes before the doors actually closed, and they pushed back. So we got lucky, or so we thought.
And that was
Atlanta.
that was
Los
Delta's
Angeles.
flagship A350
It was.
airplane.
Yes, it was.
My favorite
It was a
airplane.
beautiful
It's
plane.
beautiful.
Beautiful plane. So we're on the plane. We're doing our thing. You know, beverages have been passed out, and
About 2 hours.
2 hours in, the pilot comes on, and he goes,
Ladies and gentlemen, just wanted to come on here and let you know we're having, we feel like honesty is the best policy here and want to be full disclosure with you. And, we like to take care of our customers here on Delta Airlines. We are proud to be a very customer-focused airline and just want to be upfront with you.
that went on for 15 minutes.
Just so you know, here we're seeing the little warning lights here in the cockpit on the right engine. It's it's showing we're having low oil in the engine, so we've been talking to control, and we're gonna have to divert here either to Houston or Dallas. They haven't decided which one yet, but just so you know, we're probably a half hour out from doing that. But that right engine, we're going to probably shut it down here in a little bit, so you'll hear it shut down, but we're still going to be safe to get to DFW or to Houston. So, we'll come back on a little bit and let you know what's going on.
Oh my God, that's verbatim. Sounds just
Everything was fine. The plane was still flying smoothly. No one panicked. You didn't. I'm seriously looking around like, am I gonna freak out? No one freaked out.
Well,
no
they
one
might have at
panicked.
the very beginning.
Well, they may have.
I
Yeah.
thought there were some
Yeah.
some leather
Probably.
pulled up in the.
Some praying going on, and
Yeah.
some prayer beads, and so the flight attendants come through and they take all of our stuff because they're getting us ready to land, right? So, a few minutes later,
Ladies and gentlemen, here from the pilot from the cockpit again. Just want to keep you updated on what's going on here. They decided to go ahead and divert us over to DFW. It's good. We're about a half hour out from there. Things are looking good up here, though. I mean, we're still showing that low oil in the engine, but the oil pressure is good, which is kind of funny, but weird. But it is what it is. So so we're gonna land here in DFW about a half hour. Once we hit the ground. Just say, don't be surprised if you see the fire engines coming out. They're just gonna come look and see and make sure everything's okay. So how about a half hour here? We're gonna start our descent now to Dallas, and I'll give you more information as I got it.
yeah. So we're looking at things. All right. Well, we're going to be a little late. Yeah. So then you take Delta alert. Oh well, your next flight leaves at 11:45. But it's the same flight number. Okay, well, maybe they think there's just something simple with the plane.
Yeah.
So
we land.
and
They're going to bring out like 6 quarts of oil and just pour it in.
that's what
just
I'm
top
thinking.
the engine.
Oil
off.
pressure's
Now get it.
good.
Yeah.
They got to tighten up the plug or something,
Yeah.
and we're good to go.
Hate
so
when that plug gets loose.
we hit the ground and we stop and
You hit the ground.
we land.
Okay.
We land. It was a smooth landing.
It was.
They take us off onto a taxiway and there's a fire engines driving around the truck or the plane.
With a mechanic.
Not mechanic.
No, outside. They
outside,
did,
yeah. The
They did fire
mechanic.
engines and mechanic.
They take a look around, and he comes back going,
Ladies and gentlemen, your pilot speaking again from the cockpit. Don't be alarmed by those fire engines that are outside. They're just checking us out, making sure everything looks good, and they're telling us things look good. So they're going to taxi us out here to a remote gate, and we're going to park there for a minute and see what's going on, and we'll keep you up to date on what's happening.
So we taxi to the gate.
Forever away.
We were forever away. It was like a half-hour
Oh,
taxi.
DFW is.
Well,
Oh, my
because
goodness.
the biggest place they had for us was their international, which was like around
Right.
on a different,
Yeah.
completely different acreage.
DFW only has tiny airplanes for,
Yes.
Del-
It's
for,
only tiny
for
airplanes,
Delta.
yeah.
Oh, and tiny.
Yeah.
I mean, like A220. You remember the models from last
Yep.
season? Tiny.
Right.
Yep.
I
They-
flew one recently
So they
whenever
had
I
to
went to
loop us
Louisiana for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
around to the international side. Like it was a long taxi. And we
Yep.
pull in there, and then they had.
So we pull in there, and pilot comes back on board.
It's your pilot from the cockpit again. We want to thank you for your patience and being customers of Delta because we really appreciate your money. And just want you to know that they're having to pull the jet bridge out. It's taking a little time. They didn't have a staff here for us, so we'll have that taken care of in just a few minutes here.
Fast forward a few minutes. We see 2 firefighters in full gear, breathing apparatus and everything.
Yeah.
Come on the plane with 2 Delta maintenance guys, right?
But mind
And
you,
we're like,
nothing's wrong.
Yeah, nothing's wrong, but they got full gear on. You figure at this point they would have taken the BA off, and no, they got full gear. So a few minutes later, the pilot comes back, and I'll spare you guys all the voice, but he lets us know that they're going to put the plane out of service.
Yep.
And we have to get on another plane, but to hang tight, that they're going to have some customer support folks come on board and let us know what's going on.
They just let you know what's going on.
Well,
Yeah.
how we're going to change
Oh, okay,
planes or
yeah.
whatever. So the next
Just
person,
door to door.
yeah, exactly, just like you would in a truck, in a straight truck, yeah. So the next person we see board the plane is a red coat. So just for you folks that don't know, Delta's customer service folks on the ground wear red coats. You
And
ever
that's-
see a Delta person wearing a red coat? They have some power. Go up to them and tell them what your problem is.
And that's not a gate agent. That is a
No.
real customer
It's
service.
a real customer
Yeah.
service person.
And
She took over the mic.
She did. She did.
Baby, I just want to let y'all know how much we appreciate your patience and how we're dealing with this situation here. At this point, the plane's been put out of service, and we don't have all the details of how we're going to change things for you. But what we're going to do here is, y'all is at D14 now. We need y'all to go over to E14. You can take the tram. They got the tram to get you over there, and then we'll let you know what's happening once you get to E14, okay? Thank you again for y'all being safe. If you're looking for some food recommendations, my grandma got some greens, collard greens and cornbread over at gate A12 that y'all can eat. But until then, we want y'all to go over to E14, and we'll tell you what's happening, okay? All right, now, y'all be good. Baby, we love y'all, and thank you for traveling Delta Airlines. So, we get off there, and we're in the international terminal. We got to go to this other gate, and it's a hike. It's a hike to the tram.
Yeah.
And then once off the tram, it's a hike to the gate they want
And
you
you've
at.
got and you've got 200 passengers.
Right.
Oh, and it's
yeah.
an escalator to the tram, isn't it?
It
Yes.
is. It's an escalator to
It's
and
a
from the tram.
long, yes.
long. Oh, it's an
escalator.
S.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Escalator.
Yes, and so then we get to A14, and now we've created a congregated line of 200 people.
And you know how wide the hallways
Not
there
very
at
wide.
Not very
They're
big.
not
No,
very
they're
wide.
very small.
And other pilots and the other attendants are making snarky comments. I'm like, really? You can't see what's going on here? I mean, it's not like we're all huddled up here to get on a plane or anything. There's something going on. I
Right.
mean, let's have some
Right.
kindness. But we all stood there. They had 3 people at a table, a makeshift table, trying to get everybody rebooked.
Informed.
Rebooked. Your next rebook wasn't even going to be till 4:00 or the next day going
Right.
out of there. And even at that, those planes aren't going to accommodate all 200 of us.
No.
Yeah.
And so they finally figured it all out. And
We stood there for about half an hour, and the line didn't move.
no.
So at some point, I walked up. I could see the line actually start moving a little bit. I'm like, well, let me just go up and eavesdrop on what's being said up
Yeah.
front because I can't hear you from
Because
here.
nobody else, they weren't doing the
Yeah, they
telephone
weren't doing
line.
large. So I walked up front, and the redcoat was explaining to a small group of people that they were bringing another plane in from Atlanta, same type plane. We'd have the same seats. They're going to bring that plane in from Atlanta, and we'd be on our way. We're looking at 3:30ish. Was the ETA at that point for us to reboard?
Okay.
That ETA got pushed back to 4:30, and then to 5:30, which they actually kind of stuck to.
Yeah.
Except that we couldn't board an A350 at that gate because it was too
Too
small. We had to go back to the original gate where they let us off to board the plane.
Yeah.
However, Finnair had a flight going out of there at 4:50. So we had to wait for them to push back.
You had to wait for the Finnair to finish?
Wait for the Finnair to finish. Once they pushed back, they pulled our plane in. But at this point, they now have to reboard us all manually. So they got paper manifest. We want A through K in this line and L through Z in this line. So people are
and
rushing.
families of 4 were completely, or
Yeah.
families were in a
Different.
different line.
So people are rushing to the gate, and there's long lines. And Melissa and I just sat there in our seat and watched the whole thing
For
until
probably
it
about
was,
30 minutes.
at least.
30 minutes
At
we
least.
watched. It's like,
Before-
why get up and stand?
Yeah.
There were 5 people in line, and we got up and went and walked in. So we get the boarding done, and we're sitting there for probably another 45 minutes, and a different passenger comes on, and a different pilot comes on over here. Ladies and gentlemen, just want to let you know how much we appreciate you flying Delta Airlines and your patience today. We realize it's been a long and challenging day, but we just want to thank you for your business and for choosing Delta. We know you have many options in who you fly with, but again, thank you for choosing Delta and paying your money to us. I meant to say, too, that they're just doing some stuff on the back end here. With the paperwork, we got some issues with the names on the manifest. We just get that straightened out. We'll be on our way. Well, didn't she have that same problem last week where you had 6 people get on the plane that didn't belong?
Didn't belong.
Anyway, so we finally take off about 7:30. We arrive in LA at 8:20, 8:30 LA time, and got our baggage and got to the hotel. So got to the hotel probably right about 10 o'clock Pacific time.
Yeah.
Did they have, did Delta give you catering or anything on the plane?
No.
We did have the drink service.
Did they comp the drinks or anything?
We were in Comfort Plus, so they were
Oh, they're already there. Okay.
No, they provided
They did give
2
us
rounds
2
of vouchers.
2 vouchers
each for $12
A piece.
in the airport.
So
Oh, yeah. Okay.
$48 total.
Yeah, which covered.
Peanuts. And a tuna fish sandwich.
Yeah, but it was peanuts, but they weren't like the honey roasted.
No,
No, that was.
they
They
did have
No.
water and they had some snacks.
They did, yeah. At the gate, they did have
A14
snacks
while
for
we
us.
were all there.
Yeah,
And then
Did y'all end up going and getting food?
we did.
we did once
We did.
I was gonna
early on.
say,
We should have done a second round, but
did they have plastic wrapped box lunches like AA?
Okay,
No, they
no.
didn't. They did have water that was plastic wrapped.
Like from the factory?
Yeah, exactly.
it was just a
It's
long
not-
day.
It was a long day. I mean, we made the best of it. We had a little something to eat. We
Yep.
hung out, and
We were able to move our plans from Friday that we had to
Yeah.
Monday, so that worked out well that business establishment was open again on Monday. But
ultimately, we were
Yeah.
happy the pilot made the decision he did. Safety first, right? So yeah, we're delayed. We had
Oh, yeah.
issues. The reason we're going was my daughter's wedding, which wasn't until Sunday, so we had a little time. So it worked out fine for us. Once we got to the hotel, got some sleep, Saturday we were good to go.
Yeah.
So like I said, we were there for my daughter's wedding.
Yep.
My daughter got married on Saturday.
no, she didn't.
On Sunday. My
Starts with an
other
S.
daughter got married on Saturday.
No, she didn't.
I'm sorry, I only have one daughter.
That's
huh?
right.
So the funny story is that
Congratulations.
her fiance and her they
Thank
were
you.
dating for a decade, 1 year, 1 month, and 1 day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
On the day they got
on
married.
the day they got married.
That's awesome.
So it was. I didn't think they were going to get married. 'Cause they'd been together for so long,
A decade.
and they were happy. A decade.
Yeah.
But they decided to do it, which I'm very happy for her. So, my daughter, I got my daughter to the wedding chapel Sunday morning before the wedding, and as she's closing the door after getting out of the car, because I was dropping her off, I was going to park. She goes, "Oh, you're walking me down the aisle." All right,
close
that's
the
good
door.
to know. And close the door. And it's like
Like
that's
we've
good
had
to
all
know.
this time leading up to
Yep.
it. We
Yeah.
had a 45-minute drive from the hotel to
Right.
get there.
Yeah, I
And
go, "Yep,
literally,
that's
as
my
she's
daughter.
closing the door, she says, "Oh, by the way, you're walking me down the
That's
aisle."
my daughter." Yeah, so.
I told
wa-
him,
it
I
was
said,
a
"You better
very-
go find parking quick."
It was a very fun ceremony.
It was very
Reception
intimate.
after was fun. It was a good time. So I'm very happy for her. Very proud of her.
Yeah.
Well, the pictures of you two, well, you and Melissa, I didn't see I saw the pictures of you and your daughter and all of y'all, like a big
Yes.
photo. But the picture of you and Melissa dressed up in all the formal wear, it was really, you'll see it right now. It's actually over us right now.
Yeah,
and all you
we'll
see
share
is the
that.
picture and you don't
Yeah.
see us at all. And look at you, stud, right? Stud.
I got the beard trimmed, so I'm not looking homeless anymore, which none of you had commented on. the lack of homeless looking Vince. And I thought we looked amazing. Melissa, beautiful as ever.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
If I wasn't standing next to her, I would look homeless still. So, yeah,
Homeless in a suit.
homeless in
That
a
feels
suit.
like Sleepless in Seattle or
It's-
something.
something like
Is that
It's
a
funny.
movie?
So Eric and I both saw the photo, and I saw it. I didn't say anything, and Eric's like, "Oh, he's got one of the, like pocket things."
There's a story behind that too.
Oh.
I normally would have a pocket square anyway, but I promised my daughter years ago I was looking for a tie for a job interview, and she was with me, and they had a bow tie there, and we were joking about the bow tie, and somehow, some way, I told her, when you get married, I'm going to learn how to tie a bow tie. So I'm thinking she's never getting married.
Yeah.
Well, she's getting married. Who knew that bow ties come in different lengths?
I didn't.
I didn't. So I'm watching YouTube videos, and I got the bow tie on my neck. I'm like, yep, that's not going to work. And it's too late now to go out and buy another bow tie because it's Sunday.
Yeah.
So the bow tie went in my pocket as a pocket square.
Nice.
So I shared it with my daughter with the story behind it. The pocket square was my bow tie.
Well,
So, yeah.
and it's folded, so it's kind of being
There,
tied.
there you go. It's folded and nice. And I didn't tell her I wear it on my neck. I just told her I learned to tie one,
Yeah.
which I did. So anyway, they got married Sunday. Beautiful ceremony, like I said, and that's what we were there for. We came home Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah, we got home Tuesday about 5 p.m.
That was
and
yesterday. Yes.
just
Whatever
Sat
Tuesday
down
is.
and didn't do a damn thing.
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good trip. It was a good trip.
And the way back was uneventful.
Way back was very uneventful. We landed early on both flights. We flew into Minneapolis from L.A. and then Minneapolis to Columbus, and both flights we were early. And
Nice.
they were very uneventful. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad your emergency situation was so calm.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad too.
Mine with Eric and our emergency situation was on an Embraer. And we the engines turned off, the plane nosedived. The flight attendants quickly put the cart away and sat down. There was no grabbing anything off anybody's plate,
Right.
off trays or anything. You just hold on to it.
Yeah.
And then for like 15, maybe 10 minutes, which felt like an hour, we didn't know what was going on. We just know the plane's diving. And that was our experience. So a little different.
A little different. Yeah,
Little different.
different.
But we were also on United. Maybe that's, you
Yeah,
know.
could be. Yeah.
So-
Well, I'm sure during that 10-minute period, then with no engines running, the pilots were doing their thing, trying to get them started back again.
Well, they actually turned them off.
I think-
Ours was a pressure issue. We
Okay.
lost. We had a slow pressure leak,
Gotcha.
and so when that happens, immediately descend
Yeah.
down to 10,000 feet.
I think our pilot was more like, oh, that gauge is showing low oil.
He flicks it.
Well, you got to
Yeah,
remember.
it hasn't changed, so let me just go ahead and go through the checklist real quick. And
I mean, you got to keep in mind the people that are flying A350s. They've been flying for decades.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
They're 20-year
I'm sure.
veterans. They've
Yeah.
got,
Yeah.
tons of flight
For
hours.
sure.
They're very experienced, very very good pilots. So,
I think if it was his personal plane, mind you, I realize it's a huge commercial one.
he'd have gone for it.
He would have gone the whole way to LAX.
Well,
Again, if it was his personal plane, no
So-
no bodies to account for, that kind of thing. Maybe just him and his buddy. They probably would have risked going all the way to LAX.
Eric and I talked about this. So the beauty of that plane is, I think it's 270 minutes. It might be 310. That's the number of minutes it can fly on one engine, which means if it departs Atlanta and immediately loses an engine,
Right.
it can still fly all the way to LAX
On one engine.
on one engine.
Amazing.
Now, you would never do that. That's risky, right? Like,
Sure.
Right.
But you got tons of airports, land it, fix
Right,
it, or
get it
or
get
whatever.
rid of it.
But if you're over the Pacific Ocean, you don't have an option.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now you've got, what is that, 270, 6 hours, 5 hours?
Sure. I'll take your word for
60 times 5 is 300. So, yeah, 5 hours. You got 5 hours to find a place to land. Well, you can get somewhere in 5 hours.
it. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's, yeah. I mean, I think you're right. If they were ferrying the plane, I think they'd have just gone for it.
Right.
And I think too that had his tone not been so calm, there may have been a little more panic in the
Yeah.
people. But this
Well,
tone
and he
was
did
very
say it was
calm.
losing. It was. I don't know how you have two different gauges. Something was showing that it was losing oil,
Right.
but they still had oil pressure.
So,
So yay that you're still showing oil pressure because that's a good thing.
yeah. So I read an article the other day that came over because you get my private license and everything, and it was a guy talking about he was in the plane I fly, so it's relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he was flying. They were at 10,000 feet. The plane showed low oil, but he still had oil pressure. He checked all the gauges. Everything looked fine. He said, "You know what? Let's get on the ground anyways."
Yeah.
And so they went ahead, again, single engine, a little different than if you have two engines. So they went ahead, they found the closest airport, and they declared an emergency and went and landed. And when they got off onto the ramp, he opened up the little oil fill. It's like
Yeah.
a little door just strictly for the oil. Opened it up, pulled the thing. They were at 1.2 quarts.
And they're supposed to have
7.
yeah. Wow.
So they had a real issue, and if he'd
Yeah.
have kept flying, he'd have lost the engine.
Yeah. And I'd imagine that since they put the plane out of service, we were actually low on oil too.
They found something.
Even
yeah.
they found something. They found a problem
Oh,
other than
yeah.
a sensor saying you're low on oil.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
So I was like, pull this big thing into FIDA.
To FIDA?
Yeah.
Pull it into
Yeah.
FIDA. Have them swap a sensor. Let's get back on the road.
Well, you know
No,
what's
wait. FIDA will get you to next week.
Oh gosh,
They'll get to you next week.
we love FIDA. They're great people. Anyways,
are. They're good
you know
people.
what? The other thing that stinks too is like they landed at DFW, and I'm sure there's an Airbus something there and I'm sure they'll be able to work on the engine there.
Oh, sure.
But DFW is American Airlines' primary one of their
The big
primary
hubs,
hub.
Yeah.
I think it is their biggest hub, and American Airlines doesn't fly any A350s.
Oh, wow.
So it's not like
They just call American and say, can we buy
yeah,
a part?
because that does happen. Like if you see, like sometimes leaving Atlanta, you pass by the huge Delta flight ops.
Right.
Depending on what runway you go by, you'll see an American Airlines plane there, or United plane in
Sure.
there, Like, if it breaks down and it's at that airport and it has to be fixed before it
Yeah.
can fly,
Bring it over.
they'll use each other's
Sure,
services.
why not?
It's not they're not that kind of competitors.
I wouldn't be surprised if that part, whatever part they needed on that that first plane, was sent in on that second plane.
Could be,
You know, if there's no other A350s,
especially coming from
there,
Atlanta.
you know, sure, why not?
Yeah,
Load on there and get busy.
yeah,
They may have even flown in a mechanic with it.
yeah. Absolutely could have been.
Yeah.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah, Delta is very
Yeah.
Delta Tech Ops is very on it.
Yeah.
I did get a news article that I thought we'd talk about real quick. 2 reasons. One is because we like to talk about the news, but secondly, because it hits home, I think, especially with Chili, and I wanted to talk about it with him because I don't have experience with some of this, and I think you do.
Okay.
The title of the article is "Distracted Tesla Driver on Autopilot Hits and Kills a Motorcyclist,"
Oof.
and it's under investigation.
Is that what you see?
So in
I
Washington,
know, that's what I saw too. We saw the freeze warning. We thought
There's
that's
a
what
freeze
your,
coming.
we thought that's what your
That's-
article was about.
that's hysterical.
Conditions could kill or damage sensitive plants.
I know.
I know.
I'm
like,
like, that's
thought you were-
definitely newsworthy.
we learned
I
that.
thought you were trying to provoke me.
No, we learned that a long time ago. We did it 2 years in a row. We got us 2 years in a row. We killed all our planes. But no, this is out of Washington.
Snohomish.
Is that how you say that?
Snohomish.
That's a lot of O's.
Verify that for me.
Snohomish.
All right. The driver of a Tesla was on autopilot mode, distracted by his cell phone, when his vehicle lurched forward and hit and killed a motorcyclist on Friday afternoon. So I read the article. What they're saying is the driver of the Tesla was set on autopilot, and something happened while it was moving, and it went forward. And it hit a motorcyclist. It actually ran over the motorcyclist,
Oof.
stopped,
And trapped him.
and trapped him in,
Yeah.
and he was pronounced dead on the scene, unfortunately. They did say that the motorcyclist, I think, was coming home from lunch or going somewhere from lunch, and at lunch he did have a drink.
The driver of the Tesla.
That's. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Did
the
I say
driver of the
motorcyclist?
Tesla was at lunch and had a drink.
Yes, I meant the Tesla. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. I apologize for that. I did mean the Tesla driver. Had one drink. On the when he was pulled out of the car, he did do a field sobriety test, and the officer said the only thing he did was on like walking the straight line on a crack or whatever. He at one point he did put a foot down off the line, but the officer said that's perfectly normal. That's not anybody can have a little balance issue or whatever. The rest of it he did fine. Then once later on at the jail they had or later on they had the professional DUI people.
A drug recognition expert.
That's the one. Come out and tested his blood, right? Or was it his blood, or was it his cognitive?
They said they did a evaluation.
Yeah. Whatever that means.
But so an expert on impairment
Yes.
did the evaluation, and that opinion was he was not impaired.
Yes.
The driver of the Tesla.
Yeah.
So there's no DUI here,
Correct.
or DWI, what your state calls it. He was arrested for vehicular homicide, DSO, which I can only guess is distracted driving of some sort.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
So here's the thing. I heard last week that Tesla did a recall on their Cybertrucks. Have you heard about this?
Yes.
Over
Where-
10,000.
I heard they did this over acceleration pedal sticking.
Yes. So
Yeah.
what happens is the rubber pad on the metal pedal
Mhm.
comes loose, and it gets lodged underneath the trim on the dash, and can cause the truck to just accelerate because it won't come loose.
So I had this problem. I don't know if you know or not. Back when I had my 2008 Toyota Tundra,
Okay.
the factory floor mats in the pedal were just a little too tight.
Yeah.
So if anything was just ever so off, it would actually grab the accelerator pedal
Sure.
when you floored or when you gave it gas. When you let up, it wouldn't let up.
Would come back.
And so Toyota literally, and I thought it was so tacky, they literally just shaved the bottom of the pedal. And so from that point on, it just had this
Yeah.
rough cut that they did, and that was the fix.
So what I've seen was Tesla's fix is to put a rivet in the bottom of the pedal
Just to hold it.
just to hold it. Anyway,
Makes sense.
so the article doesn't say what type of Tesla this guy was driving, and it if it's on autopilot, I don't know if autopilot actually moves the pedal. Sometimes
Yeah.
it happens. I don't know if it actually moves the pedal. Yeah, I don't know if it was a Cybertruck or not.
I don't think so. Modern cars are all drive-by
drive by
wire,
wire, so it may
so
not
it
move the
wouldn't
pedal.
be moving the pedal. The pedal moving was a vacuum system that they
Okay.
don't really use anymore.
All right.
So it did say in the article too that they are investigating to see if the vehicle really was on autopilot. They
Right.
are, they got to check and see, is this guy telling the truth? Was it just on cruise control and he just didn't pay attention?
Well, he did say it lurched forward.
But he also said he was in motion. So
Well, he was moving forward,
yeah.
but he's saying that the driver is saying that he looked down by at his cell phone, the vehicle lurched forward and hit and killed the motorcyclist.
So I am curious. They got to be able to download and see if it was on autopilot or not.
Sure.
I mean, the lurch forward, all that stuff, did not. I don't know. People
They can
say
s-
things.
Tesla can see that as well.
Yes, I agree.
Right.
And I think that's why they're doing their investigation, right? They're trying to figure out all
Sure.
that.
So if it's the car's
But-
fault, is he then not held responsible?
He is.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Because with autopilot is not true self-driving where you start the car, put it in your navigation where you want to go, take your hands off the wheel, and the car drives you there. Autopilot still requires you to have your hands on the steering wheel and some awareness of what's around you.
Do you have to have your hands on the steering wheel?
You have to.
Okay.
If you take them off for too long, it'll tell you, hey, put your hands on the steering wheel.
Okay.
Yes, you have to. So autopilot is really a bad name for this system. It's more assistive driving. Where if you have your hands on the
It's like
steering wheel, the
advanced
car
cruise
will
control.
do what it wants. Yeah, the car will change lanes and get you where you need to be, but you still have to have your hands on the steering wheel showing you that you're aware. Okay. The issue here is something I've heard before from motorcycle podcast is motorcycles are hard to recognize.
Yeah.
Because they're so narrow.
So does
So
the
for
car
these-
not have enough awareness of it?
Possibly.
Sensors or whatever those are
right,
called on an
sensors.
auto?
Yeah, it's possible. So it's really, and we don't have any information in the article on how this happened. Other than what it says, I think it says it rear-ended him.
Yes.
So that's all we have. We don't know positioning of where the car hit him, where the motorcycle was in the lane. If the motorcycle come over in the lane, they cut him off basically, and the car didn't have time to react and stop. We don't know.
Right.
Right. So it's really hard to
It
say
also
what
said
the issue
the
is.
guy heard a thud and then the vehicle lurched forward, I think is what it said. So I do wonder, could it be where the motorcycle came over and hit the car and then got pulled under?
Could be.
Could be something like
Yeah,
that.
it could be.
I know this. So like on my Jeep, it's got the adaptive cruise control. Love it. I'm such a huge fan of adaptive cruise control. You can go through traffic, hit it, and you don't got to stress. But you still got to be alert
Sure.
because there will be times, depending on like the way the sun hits the car in front of me or something like that, that it will trick the car into the Jeep into thinking there's not a car there, and you will feel the vehicle accelerate, and it's like, nope, you got to immediately hit that brake, or it'll just ram into that car.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll ram into it or if it'll get close enough that it sees it and then hit the brakes.
Not worth
still,
it.
I'm not going to
worth
try
worth
it.
Sharing, yeah.
It's
So you're still aware.
yeah, so you still have to pay attention, even with what I've got. Now, this is a next level up, but so my Jeep has a row of sensors in the bumper, a camera on the our radar camera thing on the in the grill, and then another camera up behind the rearview mirror. So it's got 3 different sources detecting vehicles in front of it, and it still not a motorcycle, a car. If
Wow.
the sun or whatever hits it the
Yeah.
right way.
Also, if you're going through a curve, I think I'm guessing the camera will turn or focus at the angle your steering wheel's at.
A little bit, yeah.
But even doing that, sometimes it's not at the right angle to catch somebody when you're going to a slight curve.
Yeah. So I'm assuming if they're using similar technology to what Tesla's using, then it does leave the room for failure. I mean,
Sure.
remember, it wasn't too long ago, a year or two ago, that I think it might have been the first big fatal accident Tesla had. Guy was driving and a semi-truck turned in front of him,
Right.
and the car saw the white semi-truck and thought it was Sky and just
Kept
right
going
into it.
underneath it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I just...
I think there's so much here. Yes, we're talking about Tesla and autopilot. Ultimately, we have a distracted driver.
Yes. 100%.
right? If he had been paying attention, could the accident still have happened? Possibly, because we don't know what the dynamics of the accident were, where the motorcyclist came from, right? So if he did cut him off and the driver didn't have time to react, sure, it could have still been a fatal accident. But ultimately, we have a distracted driver that, even if it wasn't his fault, the bike cut him off, he's admitted that he was distracted. He admitted that he looked down at his phone, and that right there says, now it's your fault.
Right.
Yeah.
It's challenging. The adaptive cruise control is amazing. I used it this weekend in LA where it's just traffic.
Oh, yeah.
And I set it at 45 on the freeway because traffic was going 15, 20 miles an
I
hour.
was going to say,
and I
didn't even
wasn't
come close.
I wasn't going back and forth,
yeah.
Accelerator to brake. I just set it on 45 and let it do its thing. It slowed me down, sped me out, so it was great.
Yeah.
We had another situation where I was merging right and didn't realize the lane next to me was merging with my lane. So I was moving right to get into that lane that wouldn't exist, and it came to a close, and the automatic crash thingy start beeping and going off inside the car and pull me to the left and brake for me and save my ass, basically.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought it was me. I hollered at you. That car's coming over.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Anyway, but
It was a combination.
the safety factors kicked in, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, things like autopilot or adaptive cruise control or lane departure, they have their place, but they don't take over for the human behind the steering wheel.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think we have a long way to go. I know a lot of people
I
have
think we do.
said, like, well, you fly. Don't you just set the autopilot and roll on or whatever? And it's like, well, not exactly. I mean, you can for most stages of flight, but there's still a lot of it
Sure.
that is human driven.
I think
And I mean, autopilot, even trains, right? If there's any autopilot in the world, it's got to be trains.
They're on the
No.
rails.
You know what Union Pacific and all those big train companies have?
They got a dead man switch.
They got a dead man switch.
Yeah.
When you're in that train and you're driving the train, there's no steering wheel. I don't know why I did that. But you give it gas or throttle, whatever.
Right.
And every so many seconds, I forget what it is, you have to hit a little switch.
Mm-hmm.
You hit a little button.
Say, I'm still here.
And if you
still
don't hit
driving.
that button, it sounds an alarm. If you don't hit it after the alarm, it I was gonna say vibrates the steering wheel, but I don't think it does that either.
I think it
after
starts to
that,
shut down.
it just slows the train down and brings
Yeah.
it to a stop, and then alerts on the radio that we have a problem. Like even trains have to have some form of human.
Yeah.
Oh, in case something happens to the driver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
illness, heart attack, something like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they
he's
can't
not-
respond to signals or radio commands. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
you're going to have even bigger.
Yep.
Wow,
Think
that's
about what
really
happened.
cool.
I don't know if you remember this. Several years ago in Spain on the high-speed rail, there was a train that went into a corner, went way too fast, threw the cars off
Yeah.
the rails. It was a passenger train, killed a bunch of people, and it was the train driver was on a cell phone and ignored the warnings and the signs and everything. Like
Oh.
I don't know of any outside of the very small systems at airports and stuff. I don't know of any real large transportation that is completely autonomous. And I'm not knocking Tesla. I'm a huge Tesla fan.
Oh, sure.
I love
Sure.
all that stuff. The Tesla semi-truck, I know a lot of people hate it. I think it's really cool. I think it's going to serve some very good
It
applications.
will.
We're a long way from it being the new norm across the country, but it will have
Its place.
its place, and
Yeah.
it will do good. Electric vehicles, buses and stuff. Like, imagine electric city buses. Imagine electric school buses. Imagine your kid goes to school on a bus in that afternoon when they get on the bus and all the buses turn on. They don't have a plume of smoke, which is what they
Right.
have right now, and all these kids are breathing in diesel fumes. Imagine that just doesn't exist anymore. Imagine how much money a school system can save not buying diesel for hundreds, if not thousands, of
Sure.
buses and strictly using electricity. I'm just saying, like, there are some garbage trucks
Yeah.
notoriously get 2 to 3 miles per gallon. And that's just pumping tons of toxins in our air, right? Imagine if they just don't zero, they put nothing out. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that's the beauty of electricity is it's only using it when it's making power. It's very efficient at torque. It's very good at
Sure.
propelling a vehicle forward. Like, that's one thing that bothered me about the mail contract. the U.S. Postal Service, when they upgraded their trucks to these new funky looking ones, they were supposed to be like 50 or 60% were supposed to be electric. And by the time it all got said and done, it's like 10% going to be electric. The rest are going to be gas. And I'm like, but that's going to end up costing the post office so much
much
money
more
in the
money.
long run.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
so again, electric, for it, against it, whatever. It has its place, and when used properly, it's going to be very good.
Speaking of Tesla, I saw a Cybertruck in person over the weekend in L.A. It was black.
What?
They're so ugly.
Thank you. It's exactly where I was going. It's so ugly in person.
I saw a silver.
Hideous.
I saw a silver one in between Key West and Miami. It was so pretty. I looked at that and I was like, that's a good looking little truck.
You saw it, didn't you? The Cybertruck?
I don't think so.
Okay.
All
right.
They look so unique.
The
I don't
black
know.
One, the black one was just, it was so ugly.
I don't know that I would buy one.
It was so
It
ugly.
just feels very Star Wars to me, and
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, I've ridden in a couple of them as Ubers.
A Cybertruck?
A Model X, a Model 3.
Yeah.
Nice cars.
There's a big difference.
But
The X,
Cybertruck.
the Model X is great. The Model 3 is junk.
It's a little car. It's a little small sedan.
I was surprised. It rides. We used to own a Nissan Versa.
Yeah.
The Model 3 rides rougher than the Nissan Versa and has more road noise. And I'm like, a $14,000 car versus a $38,000 car.
Big
Why
difference.
does a $38,000 car
Big difference.
ride rougher
Yeah.
and is noisier? But now the X, the S, those, oh man, they're
Was the X
Awesome.
the one in Vegas?
Yes.
Oh, that was a lovely car.
I've
yeah,
ridden in
those
one
are
here
great.
a couple times too. But yeah, the X was the one in Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, lucky
Yeah.
you.
Well, sometimes some of us don't.
Is that the one that the price is like double, triple?
They're like $100,000 ish, right?
Yeah, the X is
It's a
on
little
advantage.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I think the problem with electric vehicles overall is their price. I mean, they're coming down some, but their price is so high. It's up front. You don't see the value.
It's coming down a
I
lot.
was
It's
about to
coming
say,
down.
you
It
get
has
to
come down.
Hyundai, Kia, the
Yep.
Kia EV6. It's a nice little car. It's got a lot of power. It's got a lot of options, and with
Yep.
the government rebates, it's very affordable.
Did you just see Chevrolet and GMC just announced that their Silverado and whatever the other one is actually they were shooting for 400 miles to a charge,
Uh-huh.
and it actually came in at 440.
Wow.
They were shocked.
Wow.
They were legitimately like, do you know what it takes to surprise General Motors? Like, they calculated everything to the T before it ever hit production, and they were like, "Wow, we actually did better than we thought we were going to do." So, and this two trucks that are going to be, expensive, but when you realize that an F-150 or a gas-powered, nice, fully equipped, 4-door, half-ton pickup truck is $65,000
Sure, I
these
get that.
days, electric's really not that much more expensive. It's interesting to see that change. It's
I'm looking forward to the prices coming down on electric.
Yeah.
As more are built and sold, watching the prices come down.
and Nissan's actually another one that's doing some good stuff. Their Leaf came out 70-mile charge. What a joke!
Yeah.
Their next one is like 250-mile charge.
Sure.
That's a big jump.
It's a big jump, and they are committed to, like Kia is, just keep the cost low.
Right.
They're like, how can we do this as cheaply as we can or whatever. So it's, there's some big things happening. I know a lot of people are talking about like, well, what about mining it and all this stuff. They're coming out with better, more efficient, more ecological ways of mining this stuff. It's still mining. Mining's mining, right?
Well, sure.
Coal mining's bad.
The
Lithium's mining's
The
bad.
other question
Copper's
is, how is the
mining's
electricity
bad.
produced? Is it produced from coal
Yeah.
or natural gas, or how is it being produced? And are we still polluting that way versus solar or wind power?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I agree, and there are still efficiency
sure,
charts that show
sure.
electricity is just so much more of a efficient way to move a car. Like, that even goes to how you produce the electricity. Like, not just the cost of it, but how you did it.
Sure.
Electricity is just so much more efficient than what gas is. So I don't know. I clearly y'all know I'm excited and a proponent for it. That being said, a good DD13 diesel,
It gets the
truck,
job done.
long range trucking, diesel's where it's at. There ain't
Yeah,
nothing.
it really is.
Ain't nothing there.
So I can fill that up in 10 minutes and be down the road for another 1,000 miles
Absolutely.
versus an 8-hour charge. I don't know what the charging time is, so
Yeah.
but I know it's not less than an hour for a full charge.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have their place. If I can park it overnight and charge it, great.
Yep.
If I'm only running local 250 miles out and back on one of the Teslas with the longer range batteries, I can do 500 miles on that, get it back, park it for the night, and be charged up, ready to go again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Great. But for what we do, it's just not going to work.
I think Europe will see a huge explosion in electric trucks because their cities are so much closer to each other,
Yeah.
and they are. I can run overnight, unload
Sure.
my load,
Yep.
top off
Park
the
it.
truck, and then
Keep going.
yeah.
Yeah. Electric cab over Scania, that'd be beautiful.
It would be. I don't know if it'd look any different than it does now, but
It wouldn't. I think they're pretty trucks.
I don't understand why they have just the way they build trucks in Europe versus the way they build trucks in America. We're getting screwed, guys.
Big
Anyways,
difference.
if you like what you see, please give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. If you really like what we're doing, share us with your friends and family. Throw us up on Facebook. Say, hey, hope you thought this episode was entertaining. This episode was funny. We would love for y'all to share us. Y'all are the people listening. Y'all are our biggest advocates, and we appreciate that. Y'all have been so great to us over the past few months. We're glad to be back. We're glad that I don't think we have any really things that I foresee over the next several weeks.
No, I
So
don't think so.
hopefully part B of season 2 will be nice and go pretty good for a few weeks. What else do we have coming up? What am I forgetting, Jerry?
You covered it.
You said it
What
all,
good
Patrick.
news did you just post the other day? Speaking of
Oh,
subscribers,
yes. Our views.
views,
Oh,
subscribers.
yeah, our Hyfield YouTube channel just hit over 1 million views. So thank you very much for that.
1 million views.
Yeah.
We're at 1,100,000 now.
Can you
Wow.
imagine if we had $1 for every? It doesn't matter. So, anyways,
But hit that subscribe button because we really, really do need subscribers. It really, really does help us out in the algorithm. So that would be very helpful.
absolutely. If you want to listen to us, but you're like, I'm driving down the road, it's hard to catch the YouTube. We're on every one of your your favorite podcast platforms.
Yes, we are.
And if you're like, I don't listen to podcasts, what are podcasts? Check it out. You can pull it up on your podcast app on your phone, on your Apple. And
Speaking of which, you may notice something going on weird with Google. Google actually just quit their Google podcast. Google's notorious for starting something and shutting it down.
Yeah.
So they have moved all their Google podcast into YouTube. So you will now see on YouTube, you will see one with a thumbnail. That is the video version. And then you will also see one with the podcast thumbnail, which is just the audio version on the same platform. So kind of keep that in mind whenever you're looking for us.
Nice.
oh, that's interesting.
And if you like my impersonation of pilots, let me know. I got plenty more,
Or which one you like better.
Yeah.
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely. Drop us a comment right
That was
below.
funny.
If you have anything you want us to talk about, any interesting articles, anything you were like, hey, this is really cool, like what you're doing here, don't like what you're doing there, X, Y, or Z, by all means, drop us a comment down
Yeah.
below, or you can send us an email at,
The Outer Belt Podcast at gmail.com.
that is,
The Outer Belt Podcast at gmail.com.
one more time.
The Outer Belt Podcast at gmail.com.
That's one E, not two.
That's right.
Yes, we love hearing from y'all. We love talking about things that y'all want us to talk about. Let's do it again next week.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
We should.
And we shall.
We shall.
We shall.
We shall. How British? We shall.
I'm Michelle with the Outer Belt podcast.
Oh, I got to work on my British
Oh dear.
You're British. Before
airline
you do British
captain
Airways
voice. Yeah.
or Fly
Can
Virgin.
you do
Exactly.
Finnair?
Can you finish? Can you finish? When he said Finnair earlier, by the way, that's the airline of
Airline
It
of
is.
Finland. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
It is.
they're really cool.
Yep.
Everybody, drive safe, make good decisions.
Yes. Don't leave money on the table.
And keep those wheels a turning.
Bye.
Good night.